We've witnessed and we've seen those pictures of relentless and heavy rainfall across Limpopo and Mpumalanga, and the damage it's wrought. Many families have been left displaced. Their homes and the infrastructure has simply buckled under the pressure of localized flooding. In response to the crisis that's brewing, the Minister of Human Settlements, Thembi Simelane, has officially dispatched the emergency housing unit to the hardest hit regions. But as the rain continues to fall in some parts, the question is, how quickly can the government move to restore dignity to those who have lost everything? Let's talk now about government's intervention strategy with the Minister of Human Settlements, Thembi Simelane. Good morning, Minister. Thank you very much for your time. Maybe before we get into the details around temporary and more permanent housing, just share with us just your overall sense of what has been witnessed in these flood-stricken areas. Good morning and welcome, by the way.
Thank you very much, man. Good morning. I know you have been up much earlier than I have been. So, yes. It's devastation. Being a resident of Limpopo, I think the last time we saw the extent of the devastation was in the year 2000, if I'm right. But 1998, 99, there were extremely heavy floods, which washed away totally everything well across the province. Even in this instance, 4 of the 5 districts are affected. Of course, majorly being Vembe, where I'm currently at, and Mopane, followed by Waterberg, and there's isolated areas in Capricorn with the Blowback local municipality, the most hardest hit in the Capricorn. But it explains because it borders Vembe and the entry part of the Capricorn district. The permanent solution we've got to find here is the relocation, particularly of the residents around Chakuma. And they know very well that in each and every rain, even if it's minimal, it's pouring minimally, they do get to be affected. Social facilitation has started there, and it will not be everybody. I think it's about 3-4 lines which gets to be permanently affected, and they're closer to the stream. But if you go to the extreme village, for example, where the president visited, in the communities around Baula, where over 40 houses or so were washed away, you just need to get a relocation into a better space. And that is why it took us a bit of a week, some couple of days, to be able to bring temporary residential unit, because water is still at a knee-length level. You can't build where the people were staying. So in collaboration with the department, the province, and the traditional leaders, we've identified other areas where we could relocate them. And it's not only in those areas. For example, there were about 141 or so houses which were washed away in Palaboma. You would have seen in some of your earlier recordings in the week where even the residents themselves are saying government must move us out closer to the stream where we are. So I'll be visiting that area tomorrow, and our intention is to relocate them and then plan for better permanent services.
Yeah. One can appreciate, Minister, the fluidity, pun intended, of this particular moment where those floodwaters haven't subsided, essentially. So it's very difficult also to do those assessments. But what we do know is between the 2 provinces, Mpumalanga and Limpopo, 3,700 homes and counting have been damaged. So this talks to the provision of immediate temporary housing, and what you said was the more sort of long-term solution around those residential units. Just how do you verify who's entitled to those, and how quickly you'd be able to transition people out of temporary housing into those structures?
The difficulty we have and the delay that we always experience comes from the availability and the geotechs that needs to be run to ensure that the land, possibly even underground, is not dolomatic and whatever. Once those tests and the ownership can be confirmed, we're able to make sure that we begin with the planning. Remember, they will have then to be underground services like water, connection to sewer, and before you can call it a human settlement. But from a provision of a disaster relief, what you try to do is to evacuate and move people out of the mass care center to proper care and it could be provided for by the provinces. And then secondly, you then identify the land where you put the TRUs. You may be aware that in a week after NEST, we're putting IPTs, and the province of Limpopo is one of the provinces that has raised its hand in terms of ensuring that we put up on the system of IPTs, which are more faster, durable, and more climate resistant in areas where we are supposed to be building. So the direction and how government look in terms of its response to climate change and implement weather patterns dictates to government not only human settlement, be it a health facility, be it needs to be climate resilient. And we are putting such mechanisms that South Africa has produced to test on the 3rd to 4th of February. And everybody will be around to see what the exhibitors will be having. And we are intending that in April, we begin in our new budget cycle, including the IPTs, so that we can be able to deal with the issues that are supposed to be dealt with, in particular disaster.
Minister, before I let you go, we're just thinking of all the people that are living in the, or been placed in the community halls, the churches, the B&Bs and the lodges. How long, and again, we appreciate the fluidity of the moment, how long can those displaced residents expect to stay in those temporary structures? So speak as if you're speaking to them standing in front of the hall, saying this is our plan for what's next.
I'm actually visiting from here one of the big mass care centers in the area of Makado. We have already started moving them from yesterday. Our policy allows for us to accommodate them in TEAs. Some have already moved with their families. We've provided amenities like sponges, some food takeaways and all that. But those who are able to be moved into the local BNPs and whatever, at the cost of government, we rate a family at about 400, 500 per night, and it doesn't allow us to exceed over 30 days. We are intending to move almost everybody out of mass care centers. Mass care centers are either churches or a community hall and any other recreational facility that could be used by government to accommodate those people. So we are already on the ground with the team of Limpopo and ourselves, moving them out of halls, prioritizing schools that have been used to accommodate them so that we could allow learning and education to take place.
All right, so we'll let you go, Minister. As you say, you'll be on the ground as well. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate your time. The Minister for Human Settlements, Thembi Simelane.